again, and thanks very much for being with us. Where are we going to start this hour? We're going to start with this on the front.
More on the budget, basically, isn't it? Sunday Express is the story, but also they're talking about the benefits bill, essentially.
Yeah, so this is one of the things that, speaking to Labour MPs, they were worried about the message that it sent out, that the Chancellor was putting up taxes quite considerably, while the benefits bill is also going up. One Labour person said to me, you know, the idea that you're putting up taxes to pay for higher welfare is toxic for the Labour Party, and always has been and always will be. So a front page like this doesn't help. The Sunday Express has done the sums, and they say that a family with 3 children would have to earn £71,000 to bring in as much money as a similar household living entirely on benefits. Now, I would imagine that situations like that are quite rare, probably, but I think, as I say, it's a difficult argument for Labour to make. Now, you remember earlier this year, they tried to cut the welfare bill by £5 billion, which in overall terms is actually not very much indeed, and couldn't even get that through, even with a massive majority of Labour backbenchers just would not wear it. And now falls on Pat McFadden as the Working Pension Secretary to try and reform the system to save money, while at the same time getting more people back to work as well. It's a very difficult message.
And there is a suggestion that he's trying to do that, isn't it? I suppose you have to add this front page, and this has been coming since the budget was announced on Wednesday, this idea of the increased spend on welfare, with the idea as well that we're hearing that there was some misleading in the arguments that were made.
Absolutely. Well, the accusation is that Rachel Reeves did not raise taxes because the economy demanded it, but because she wanted to increase spending, in particular welfare spending, to please Labour MPs who wanted the 2-child benefit scrapped. And that's what she did, despite the fact that Keir Starmer, one of his first acts, was kicking out 6 or 7 Labour MPs, and losing the whip over it. And now he's saying that was always his moral duty, despite the fact that during the election he was saying that he wasn't going to do it. So he puts Labour in a very tricky situation. And in terms of welfare, you know, you say Pat McFadden is going to try it again, but what they've done is now they've ordered another review by Alan Melbourne, former Health Secretary. He's already done a review. I went to the launch of it when, like a month into the Labour government, and he did the same exact review into why young people are not working. And now he's been commissioned to do another review, which you can say like is one of the few people that stay in work. You know, they're not getting out of the workforce. So we'll see what they do. But it's undeniable that the welfare bill is something that the government needs to tackle. That is just unsustainable, because we're spending something like, you know, some smaller European countries, their entire output is smaller than what we're spending on welfare, which is just not a sustainable position, given we're not, like, our economy and the growth of our economy is not good.
And yet there are backbench Labour MPs who are sitting on very thin majorities in their constituencies, who are worried about telling constituents, you know, the party is cutting welfare for the people that need it the most and the poorest. They feel that's not a Labour message. No, exactly. And it's funny, you mentioned that all those Labour MPs are sitting on very small majorities. You speak to some people in Labour and they say that's a terrible thing, because they're uncontrollable, because a lot of them just think, I'm out at the next election. They're looking at the opinion polls, think there's no chance I'm coming back, so I'm just going to do what I want now. And I feel...
It's 14 months in.
Well, I know. It's extraordinary, and they've already written off their chances of being re-elected. So they're just saying, well, actually, you know what, I'm just going to vote with my conscience now, rather than being told what to do by the party whip.
That's what I heard as well. There's lots of Labour MPs that are saying, you know what, we're not going to attend debates. If we don't do what we want, we're just not going to follow through. We're just not going to vote in the way that the government wants us to.
But will they be supporting Rachel Reeves, though, now, because she did scrap the 2-child benefit cap, and they haven't cut welfare?
I think she has bought herself some time. Yeah. But, you know, obviously there's lots of Labour MPs that are really happy about this, but there's also a few, especially in red wall seats, that obviously feel the threat of reform and actually look at this and then, like, actually this might be bad for my own chances of getting re-elected, because if we're not doing anything to cut that welfare bill, reform is going to come out and say we're just going to do lots of savings and put more money in people's pockets.
And lots of working class communities, you know, they hate the idea that they're going out to pay work, to pay their taxes, and
Britain, isn't it?
a neighbour, you know, doesn't work, and yet they're getting more benefits, is how it's perceived.
Especially with numbers like that on the front
exactly,
of the page.
That's the type of thing. And that's a difficult one for a Labour MP to try and sell on the doorstep.
Yeah.
You talked about reform. Let's move on to a reform-related story on the front of the Sunday Times, suggesting that universities are making a bit of a pitch to reform.
That's right. So universities are already preparing for a reform government because they fear sort of Trump-style backlash against higher education. And, you know, Farage has openly talked about withholding funding from universities back during the election campaign, and that's what vice chancellors are fearing. So they're in talks with lots of reform figures, and you know they're basically saying, you know, what Trump has done, we fear that you're going to do the same. Where Trump has withheld, the Republicans have withheld funds when it comes to universities being embroiled in rows on diversity, you know, lots of other anti-racism initiatives, and so on. And I think a vice chancellor is quoted as saying, populism is always driven by a wish to kick the elite. And I mean, Cambridge doesn't get more elite than that. So you can see why that would be in the firing line of the reform government, and that's them preparing for it.
Interesting that they're starting now as well. You know, we're a long way off from the potential election, but they're already trying to sort of... I mean, we're saying cozy up. I suppose it's to make sure they're having conversations with reform, getting ahead of any kind of potential threat, right?
Yeah. And we saw last week as well, Zia Youssef from Reform, you know, addressed the CBI conference. It's the first time Reform have given a speech from the floor to business leaders because, you know, everyone's looking at the same opinion polls. I can't remember the last opinion poll that didn't have Reform not just ahead, but comfortably ahead, you know. So what, even this time last year, still looked far-fetched to think that a party can go from 5 MPs to the government in one leap. Now people think, well, actually, you know, Labour aren't getting any more popular, far from it. The Tories have kind of, Kemi Badenoch steadied the ship, but still not really advancing, and Reform their lead seems pretty solid. So I think it makes perfect sense for them to proceed on the assumption that at the very least there could be a Reform government.
Do you know how your party is doing in the polls? Because we're coming on to your party as in...
I know, it's confusing.
It's confusing. They are talking about changing the name.
I think you're going to decide today.
I'm excited.
Yeah, I know.
I think your party's still in the lead, isn't it?
Yeah,
a straw poll going on.
Our party, I think, is one of the suggestions, which will also cause complications for us.
Yeah.
But let's turn to a story about them in the Mail on Sunday. They have their first party conference this weekend, and not everything's gone very smoothly.
No, I think it's actually quite impressive for Jeremy Corbyn because he started his first conference, and one of the co-founders has already boycotted it. So it's, if anything, they're providing quite a lot of entertainment. It is actually absolutely remarkable what you know, you just can't make it up.
It's beyond parody.
Yeah.
Well, we were saying
time ago, and I was seeing it play out.
One of the suggested names is the popular left or something. Hang on, that's like the popular front of Judea, wasn't it? That was one of the
Judean popular front.
Yeah,
exactly. It's been done before. This is what's so extraordinary about it. Sorry, interrupt.
No. I mean, it's just very on brand because this is the party that started with a feud over the name that's not been decided yet. And then Zara Sultana had accused Jeremy Corbyn of running a sexist club, boys' club. And then they, you know, apparently they decided to be friends again. And now yesterday she decided to boycott it.
Well, colleagues, actually, because I love the language. He said they're colleagues, not friends, which is just brilliant.
Brutal. A brutal slapdown.
Do you think they can iron things out, though? I mean, Jeremy Corbyn has a personal following, doesn't he?
He does, yeah. I don't think they can. I think it'd be very difficult to see how they can possibly patch up. There's obviously huge tensions, to put it mildly, between them. And also, the sort of elephant in the room is Zach Polanski and the Green Party. You know, it's not as if your party, or whatever they're going to be called, are the only left-wing alternative to Labour. You've now got the Greens, who are doing pretty well in the opinion polls, regularly polling certainly more than the Lib Dems and pushing up towards Labour and the Tories. And now he is a sort of left-wing populist figure in the way that Jeremy Corbyn was when he was the leader of the Labour Party. And I think he's been usurped really by Zach Polanski, and I think it'll be difficult for him to re-establish himself.
You should know what they're actually called as well, which is helpful.
Yeah, that does certainly help.
Where we go next? This
Clocks.
one. Right.
Oh,
this reporting
broken
here.
clocks.
Broken clocks. Right.
Yeah.
Twice a day or something. But
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I suppose, how many of us rely on the time clock now to know the time? Not many, because you just check your phone, really. But it's still, I think, a sign of, as the Sunday Telegraph described it, as broken Britain. 1 in 6 town clocks no longer tell the time
It
properly.
does annoy me when I look up and the time isn't right if I happen to glance up.
If you happen to be in Birmingham, the Grade 2 listed Aston Cross clock tower, all 4 sides tell a different time. So you'll be particularly confused wherever you are. You're in a different time zone. But yeah, so the local government association have said, look, this is purely financially driven. You know that councils have to prioritise frontline services. Unfortunately, things have to fall by the wayside, and in some councils that means not.
Feels quite symbolic somehow.
Yeah, definitely. At least Big Ben's still working.
Yeah.
But apart from that, even in the City of London, Leadenhall Market, you know, whose history dates back to the 14th. And it's not working. It's also got a faulty clock. So yeah.
Pleased to say that the one near this building is always right, because that tells me that I'm always late to come to the office. Now, there is a big old building in London that doesn't have a clock that I was always surprised about. The BT Tower. I used to cycle past it and always wished that I could look up and see how late it was. It doesn't have a clock on it, which is
probably if it did, it would be telling the wrong time now anyway. So maybe it's just as well.
I hope it would be digital, so it'd be up to speed. But anyway,
do we still have the speaking clock? I don't know if that still exists.
I don't
We used to phone a number and they would tell you what time it was.
Far too young to
That's how
remember
old
this, but I used to phone the speaking clock
at the
third stroke and all that. Yeah,
exactly. Oh, takes me back. We've got a minute to talk about chocolate crime.
Yeah, and that's a story that apparently criminals have got the same taste as our grandmothers.
Hold on a minute, it's delicious.
Sorry. At least my grandmother. But you know, Christmas faves for Ferrero Rocher are among the sweets most shoplifted. So it's quite astonishing. And they did an operation Zoraiden and put some UV lights on all products, and that's how they figured out that Ferrero Rocher are very popular among criminals.
Other chocolates are available, but we recommend people pay for them.
Not stolen, yeah, absolutely. It's a delicious chocolate. Obviously, I pay for my own Ferrero Rocher and other chocolates at Christmas time.
We're out of time, but you've sort of
Bettina,
got us feeling Christmassy when we think about chocolates. Anyway, thanks very much indeed. Lovely to see you both, and see you again soon. Do stay with us. We've got all the top stories coming up for you, as usual, at the top of the hour.
We are under Israeli military restrictions.